Welcome to Inside Sim Racing and another test drive. Been a few weeks since I've done a test drive, and been a while since I've actually put any time into rFactor 2. And I've taken a little heat here and there for not covering rFactor 2, and there is a reason for it. I was originally running dual 580 GTX cards and SLI on this system, and rFactor 2 just wasn't optimized for SLI. And a lot of titles aren't really. So I was told to get a single card that could handle it in triple screen. So I went out and got an NVidia GTX 780 Ti. And I gotta say, this card is awesome. So anyway, quick specs here. I'm running the TX base, and you may say, well, that's the T500 GT rim. It sure is. And I'm running that because it's just a little bit bigger. I got the TH8 RS shifter, T500 pedals with some slight modifications, Derek Speare's button box, SimXperience dash, triple screens. And then again, I have my system is an AMD 6-core running at 3.5 gigahertz. 780 Ti, like I mentioned, and 16 gigs of Vengence RAM. And I think that's about it. Oh, SimVibe. I gotta say, rFactor 2 with SimVibe, and I'll talk about it as I'm driving here, is just incredible. So, what am I driving? First of all, just yesterday, Build 590 was released by the guys at ISI. And they've been making some pretty regular builds releases the last couple weeks. 464 or something was the last build, but then they just came out with 590 yesterday. And then on top of that, they came out with the 1999 Panoz Roadster AIV. And when I first heard that this car was released, I was like, ugh, really? Panoz Roadster? That doesn't sound all that fun. But this thing is a friggin' blast. This thing is a drift machine, first of all. You can really get it. Ooh, SimVibe just kicked in here. You can really get it on the edge of traction and hold it there. And I have to say, a lot of developers have a hard time developing their tires to get that edge of traction, I've found. But this car is just incredible. Also, guys, going to give you guys a quick tip here. Actually, let's go out to the settings, and I'll show you a close-up here so you guys see what I'm talking about. Something that you should do is set your clutch so the max throw is not that far. So in other words, just push the pedal a little bit. I mean, calibrate your pedal, obviously, but just push it a little bit, and this is a very cool feature in rFactor 2. And hit set max just when you're pushing about a quarter down. What that does is that makes it so you don't have to push the clutch all the way in to change gears. And I'm going to tell you why it really makes a difference here with this car. Because I was driving it at first, and I have auto clutch off, and it just seemed to be revving out in all the gears. I hit second, wham, it revved to the red line. Third, rang, and I'll show you guys right now, actually. That being said, you know, this is a street car. Yeah, it was just kind of, I honestly don't like the way the clutch is modeled so much on rFactor 2 because, I'm going to show you. It just revs to the red line versus, oh, by the way, I'm at Loch Drummond, long version, which is about 2 miles, which this is a lot of fun. Let's talk about drifting. Whoa, boom, boom. If you miss shift, it just revs to the red line and just like loses power, like the clutch is frying. Which is not really realistic if you miss shift. I mean, if you miss shift, it's going to grind gears and possibly not go into gear. But it shouldn't just rev to red line. So, anyway, you can get used to it though. So I'm actually heel and toe in here with this car. Another cool thing about rFactor 2 is it's got this real road setup to where as you drive, and you got AI cars, I got 10 AI cars out here on the track with me. And actually I already ran a race in this, and I'm gonna just run the race on its own when I'm done. Just kind of running some laps, showing you guys me doing some drifting here. Whoa, 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 whoa! A little too much drifting there. Looks like I stalled it too. That beep is my SimXperience dash. Anyway, this real road is really cool because you start to build rubber and actually marbles on the track over time. And it's just a really cool feature that I'd like to see in a lot more Sims, to be honest. See, there's that, it just winds out. I purposely didn't clutch it. As long as you clutch it, and I was first driving this car, it was just going to 5th gear, and I was only going like 80 miles an hour. I'm like, what the heck, this thing's slow. Because I was not using the clutch, I was just paddle shifting. And so anyway, figured out that I needed the clutch. So back to real road. If you go off track and come back, it seems to bring like dirt onto the track, or at least like it shows like dirt in that particular area. I love this section of lock drumming here. This uphill. Now, you're not supposed to go off track there, but I just like this track in general. It's just a fun track to drive. I think it's in Scotland or something. Here's some dirt on the track right here. But, so let's talk a little bit more about this car, rFactor in general. And I gotta say, this has some really solid force feedback. You can feel it going over the rumple strips. You can feel it getting loose like that. Well, that's where I lost it last time. Held on to it that time. I'm over driving in here a little bit. You're gonna see in my race, I think I had 10 AI cars. And I'm not gonna commentate during that. I'm gonna run it at the end of my talk and drive here. 10 AI cars. Started about 5th or so. Ended up winning the race. 100% was the AI difficulty. 100% aggression, full damage on. So anyway, back to the force feedback and physics. Compared to rFactor 2, man, this is like, compared to rFactor 1, this is like rFactor 1 with real feel on steroids. It's got great feel. Like you can really feel the car, like I said, really kick it, especially this Panoz, you can really kick it out. Also, running Sim Vibe, I seem to be feeling more than about any other title through Sim Vibe. And I'm just running in extensions mode. I got a butt kicker under my feet, under the pedals, and one under my butt. This car's fun. You know, it's kind of quiet, but I guess you'd kind of expect that from a stock Panoz. Never really driven actually not really. I don't think I've ever seen a Panoz in real life here in the States. But I love how you can just drift this thing pretty much 1st through 3rd gear. Whoop, whoop. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Graphics I was running, it looked like got a lot of stuff turned up. Full detail. Oh, by the way, there's a setting in the graphics, HDR, you gotta turn that on. It really makes it look more realistic. Without it, it looks kind of cartoony. That HDR it seems to add, and I don't know what that stands for. I'm not totally technically savvy when it comes to graphic stuff. Actually, we're going to do a little more in-depth piece on rFactor 2. I'll tell you about the graphic settings I used and stuff with that. But Anyway, just wanted to take this thing for a test drive, show you guys Loch Drummond. By the way, you can get all this stuff at the rFactor 2 website under their downloads. The cars, like I said, this car just came out yesterday. The track's been out for a little while, but also it's available through just you don't have to go searching in their forums or anything. It's right in the download sections under cars and tracks. So anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I don't really have much more to say except this car is a lot more fun than I expected. You can really drive the heck out of it. Look at this drifting. Whoa, 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 whoa. See if I can bring it back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Saved it. I'm not much of a drifter if you haven't noticed. But I do have a V8 kind of getting back on track, or off track here, or back on track, I should say. I have a V8 Camaro that I can drift just like that. And this is one of the closest cars I've ever felt to being able to do that in sim racing. So, ISI, great job in this. By the way, this is only like version 0.095, so it looks like they're going to do a little more work to this car. You'll see that I can drive this thing better when I'm not talking in my AI race. So anyway, going to get to that AI race. It's 5 laps. Standing start here at Loch Drummond. And hope you've enjoyed this test drive. Actually, let's pull this thing over here real quick. Hope you've enjoyed this test drive. Lots more to come for rFactor 2 in the near future here. We're going to do like a semi-in-depth like we've been doing with Assetto Corsa and some of the new iRacing cars. So, oh, by the way, AI really quick. AI in rFactor 2 is solid. Man, these guys battle you, and they seem to be pretty aware of their surroundings. So had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun driving this, and anyway, gonna be driving it a lot more. Hopefully you've enjoyed this test drive. Here's my AI race, 10 cars, Panoz at Loch Drummond. Hope you enjoy it.